Greek mythology story today, King Midas and the Golden Touch. I rewrote this story based loosely on Enid Blyton's version from some of her stories. And it's just in little chunks as I do. At the end, I'll explain a couple of activities that I created to go along with the story. I'm not done with the Wizard of Oz, but I'm taking a break just to put in a standalone lesson, and then I'll be back to chapter 9, probably tomorrow or the next day. The King with the Golden Touch. Midas, the richest king in the world, sat on his throne and thought about his treasure house. He had so much gold, but he wanted more. He wanted so much that nobody would be able to even count it. He was unhappy because no matter how much he thought and planned, he could not think of a way to get such a vast amount of gold. As he pondered, some shepherds came into the great room. With them was a very old man named Silenus. "Your Majesty," said the shepherds, "we found this man wandering about in your orchards. He is lost." "Silenus," cried King Midas, "you are the friend of the god Bacchus. You are invited to stay with me for 10 days. I will make you comfortable, and you shall have a wonderful stay in the palace. After, I will take you back to your friend Bacchus." So Silenus stayed at the palace with King Midas for 10 days and was treated very well. At the end, King Midas accompanied Silenus back to the god Bacchus. Bacchus was thrilled to welcome Silenus back, for he had thought the old man had died. In gratitude, he said to Midas, "Ask for anything you want, and I will grant it to you." King Midas could hardly believe his ears. Here was his chance to obtain great, vast riches for himself. This was an opportunity of a lifetime. Then he asked for something extraordinary. He asked that anything he touched would turn into gold. "Please let me have the golden touch," he said. Bacchus laughed and said, "Okay, you can have that, but are you sure that will bring you happiness?" "I know it will," replied the greedy king. "I give you the golden touch then," replied Bacchus, and then he walked back into his palace. Midas started back for home, followed by a group of his servants. He wanted to try out his new power, so he plucked a twig from a tree. The twig turned immediately into gold. Midas was overcome with joy. He couldn't believe it. He was so happy. Midas touched his clothes. Everything he was wearing turned to gold, and it was very heavy and hard to walk. But he didn't care because the clothes were now very valuable. He touched pebbles and clumps of earth. He picked a rose, and it turned to gold, although it lost its scent and softness. But he didn't care because it was worth so much more money. Midas picked an apple, which immediately became golden. Then he rubbed the trunk and touched all the branches, and the whole tree became golden. It looked quite ugly after that, but Midas thought it was beautiful. He gave all the golden stuff he was collecting to his servants to carry to his treasure house, and they were burdened down by the great heaviness of their loads. He entered the palace. He was very tired by then. He sat down on a seat. The seat, of course, became gold, and it was too heavy to move like that. Midas called to his servants to bring him some water to wash with, and then set a table for his supper, for he was quite hungry. To his shock, when he tried to wash his face, the water turned into weird gold chunks, and he could not wash. When he tried to bite into his bread, it too turned into gold, and he could not chew it. He tried eating some cake, but it turned immediately into gold in his mouth, and it hurt his teeth, and he spit it out. Panicking, He reached for his wine goblet to take a big sip, but it turned gravelly in his mouth and almost choked him, as it instantly changed to gold inside his mouth. Now Midas began to feel very sick indeed as he gazed at the wonderful food at his table, which he was entirely unable to eat. Terribly upset, the king got up to take a walk in his garden to try to forget his hunger. A servant approached him from nearby. "Go away!" growled Midas, who was by that time in a very angry mood, and he pushed or shoved the servant out of his way. To the king's dismay, the servant turned immediately into a solid gold statue right in front of his eyes. Midas tried to bring the statue back to life again, but could not do it. It was impossible. Just then, King Midas's children saw their father and excitedly ran to him for a great big fatherly hug. Midas smiled as they ran to him. For an instant, he forgot about the gold touch and reached out to his wonderful children to lovingly gather them in his arms. But immediately, to his horror, they all turned into little golden statues of beautiful children. Midas wept bitterly at what had happened. He felt like he was living a nightmare. Midas sunk down in his sorrow. Was he, the richest king in the entire world, cursed to die of starvation, to have statues instead of his children? In despair, he begged the children to speak to him, but the little statues never said a word. At that point, Midas ran through his garden crying. He had to quit running soon because his heavy clothes, made of gold, weighed him down. He walked down the highway all alone. He had decided to visit Bacchus again and to ask him to take away the dreadful golden touch, which Midas now considered a curse. Just as the sun was setting, Midas arrived at the court of the merry god Bacchus. Bacchus asked him, "Why did you come to me? Did you not receive all the gold you could desire simply by touching many things? That is what you asked me for." "Yes," replied Midas. "But oh, Bacchus, I am very unhappy. I can neither eat nor drink, and my children are turned into statues. Please remove the golden touch from me." "Didn't I tell you that the golden touch would not bring you happiness? Keep your gift, Midas, and don't come whining to me," replied Bacchus. Then King Midas fell to his knees, crying, "Oh, please have mercy, Bacchus. I was wrong to love gold so much. Remove this gift from me. What can I do to cure myself?" At that moment, the god felt sorry for Midas, and he said to him, "The one thing you can do is to go to the river Pactolus. Bathe yourself in that river, and the golden touch will leave you." Midas said a quick thank you, and then went directly to the river Pactolus. He plunged into the cold water and saw yellow all about him, and felt a mysterious power leaving him, and he rejoiced. When he came out of the river, he saw that the sand, which had been silver, had mysteriously turned into golden sand. He timidly touched the twig of a tree. He dreaded to see it turn into gold, but it didn't. The twig stayed green. He was so happy. Midas picked up little stones and flowers. He picked up some grapes he found and ate them. They tasted so good, he was very hungry. "The golden touch has left me," King Midas thought triumphantly. He felt enormous gratitude to Bacchus. Then he suddenly thought of his poor children, and also his servant, who had been changed into statues. Great tears of sadness rolled down his cheeks. He thought and thought, what could he do? Then Midas had an idea. He borrowed a large pitcher from a nearby cottage. He filled the pitcher with water from the river, and then went back to his palace as fast as he could. When he arrived at the palace, Midas emptied the water over his children and over his servant. At once they all became alive humans again. The king embraced his children, and then all of them went in to eat a big dinner. At the table, the king noticed the plates were made of gold. "Take away these golden plates," he commanded, "and bring us some plain ones. The sight of gold makes me sick." After this, the king ate the best meal he had ever eaten in his life. All tasted so good and fresh to him. He was so happy to have his children back and to be able to enjoy eating. King Midas was cured of his greed for gold, and he learned that riches do not bring happiness or peace. The end. Here are a few exercises, and I will be adding more later, so you can come back to this channel and look later. I think I'm going to add a little play. With that being said, here's exercise 1. This is multiple choice. It's easy peasy. You just color in the right answer. The example: a duck says, does it say moo or woof or quack or hee-haw? I decided instead of writing them in a column, I just put them in these boxes like that. It's just a new way of doing it, and I thought it saved space because I have 19 questions. So these are all in order. The answers you can find, they're easy, but the answers can be found in the story, and they're in chronological order. The stories, the questions are, and they're not hard. So there's 19 questions. Next exercise is a little bit more contemplative, and it's the second one for a slightly older group. If you could have the golden touch for 1 hour only, would you take it? And now a student can answer yes or no. Then, if your answer is yes, how would you plan for the hour to pass? Explain how you would get ready to pass that hour so that you can make a lot of gold but avoid doing anything harmful. But if you answer no, explain why you made that decision and how you are better off just leaving things as they are. This answer is a little bit philosophical. Now down below, I just have a 1 page here where I put 4 different little games, I guess. And here they can practice counting 1 to 10 out loud. Count with a friend. Which coin do you like the best? So these are just some coins that I found online. Here are some items. Which items did Midas turn into gold? So a little bit of reading comprehension there just to remember. And to show all of them, he turned to gold except for a pumpkin and except for a frog. So they would write bread, tree, servant, pebble, children, clothes, and rose. Down here, it's a sentence order. So there are 5 sentences from 5 different scenes of the story. So obviously not comprehensive, just kind of random. But you need to find which comes first in the story, which comes second, which comes third, which comes fourth, and which comes fifth. This final one, it's like this little AI dot to dot I made, but there's no numbers. So basically you just do the contours. They can follow the dots if they choose, and they can color it. And then a little bit here, 1 word of vocabulary or 1 little sentence. The king was greedy. Le roi était avide. So it's a little bit of just 1 little sentence to practice. That's it. There will be more later, but for now, this is my lesson. I hope it was helpful.